Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for June 2022. So on Tuesday, June 14th, we have our full moon in Sagittarius. This is going to be taking place at 7:52 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and will be at its peak energy at 23 degrees 25 minutes. Another moon event at this last decan of energy, which tells us that this is a closure, this is an ending, this is a full circle accumulation of the energies that likely got triggered and activated last December. So this is a supermoon, strawberry moon, if you want to get into all of that. Mostly what I would say to focus on is the fact that this full moon in Sag is not typical as this, huge ending point, this huge releasing point, this huge purging point. Instead, it's going to be more of an illumination. Of course, full moons always provide us an ending, always provide us a closure, but for the most part, it's closing the door on the chaos. We have to rewind back to the new moon in Gemini that we had just a couple of weeks ago. That was the first moon event that we had that slammed the door shut on the eclipse energy. Since then, we've been trying to debate what path we want to take, what choice we want to make, what decision we should align with, what direction we should move in. And because we're in Gemini season, the whole point of Gemini season is to argue out, debate out the extremes in order for us to find a mental middle ground that feels good in our mental plane, adding logic, adding practicality, using the information and details of our current circumstances in order to make sense of all the changes that took place through eclipse season. Okay, so let's break down some of these energies that we got going on. First of all, the sun in Gemini, the moon in Sag opposes one another. This is our information axis. If you rewind for the last 2.5 years, especially when the Great Awakening took place at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, we have the true nodes of the moon bringing forth the life lessons that the collective had to learn in this Gemini and Sagittarius axis. What this was using our lower level intellect that Gemini rules over in order to sort out, open our minds up to new perspectives, information, details, ways of doing things that ultimately altered our belief system that the Sag energy rules over. The Sag energy is our higher selves, our intuition, our soul self. This is where our faith is stored. But many of us bringing that information from the higher intellect down into the lower intellect that Gemini rules over, we have a disconnect because, again, most times we can't make sense of our intuitional insight. We're not logically and practically going to be able to pinpoint why we have certain dreams and visions, why we believe in certain things. So this is kind of like the first time that we're having this Gemini Sagittarian axis with a moon event since the whole Gemini and Sagittarius true node axis. What we are going to be experiencing under this particular moon is an awareness of what it is that we've been lacking, what it is we don't want anymore, what it is that we're not feeling good about as far as chaos and clarity goes in our mental state, because Jupiter, who rules over Sagittarius, is the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs. It shows us what it is we want more of. And sometimes we have to recognize what it is that we're lacking in order to fill the gaps and fill the voids and build a bridge to what it is that we actually want in our lives. So Jupiter, who is pretty big, turns the volume up, tends to be a little bit extra, is in Aries energy for the first time in 12 years. This is why we're feeling the overwhelming want, need, and desire to start something new, to initiate a new cycle, to jump into new opportunities, to take a new path, take a new direction, because we want to grow outside of our comfort zone. So Jupiter ruling over this Sag moon is going to amplify, magnify, turn the volume up on all the thoughts and all the feelings that are rising to the surface for acknowledgement. We have to understand that the balance that we need to find in this energy is using our higher mind, our higher self, relying on our intuition, relying on our big vision, our big dreams, what it is that we want for ourselves in the future, and balancing that out with the lower level intellect, the Gemini rules over, where we have to make sense of it, where we have to bring in this big dream, this big vision of what it is that we want for ourselves in the future, and break it down into tiny pieces, the details that we have control over in the here and now. We have to figure out how we're going to bring some of these elements to life. Now, balance is a hard thing to do. That we're in Gemini season. Our whole goal is to find a middle ground, but it's hard to do because we have to live in extremes in order to kind of battle it out to find that comfortable point. If we lose ourselves in the Sag energy, we're going to be too reliant on our intuition, on our dreams, on our vision, on what it is that we want more of. We're not going to be able to bring it to life. The negative part of Sag energy is that we lack focus, we lack direction, we're so scatterbrained, we just jump around. It's a fire energy. We just want to have fun, we just want to shake things up, we just want to go on a brand new adventure. While the Gemini energy, if we get stuck in that, we're going to be stuck in the lower level intellect, where intuition doesn't count, where dreams don't count, where vision doesn't count, where we're literally going to be boxed in based off of the details of our physical circumstances in the here and now. And that can be pretty dark. That can be pretty depressing. That can be pretty bleak for a lot of people. We have to find the balance in between these two energies so that we have the hope, we have the belief, we have the faith that our intuition is guiding us on the right path to our new soul contracts, our new timeline, our new soul's purpose and mission, where we have to use that big dream, that big vision of our futuristic selves to inspire us to do what we have to do in the here and now to make sense of our path, our plan, our strategy, to make sense of the elements that we have to bring to life in the here and now to even align with the big vision, the big picture, the big dream that we're now inspired to pursue in order for us to manifest our futuristic dream and vision. Right now, we are looking to balance the conflict of intuition and faith, Sag energy, with logic and practicality, Gemini energy. We are looking for meaning, but we are looking for meaning in our heart space, that of course our intuition is a little bit stronger in. And we're looking for meaning to make sense of things in a logical standpoint from the lower level intellect that Gemini rules over. The Gemini energy is kind of content to sit in the here and now. The Sag energy wants to push us out of the here and now to have new adventures in what is possible for us in a futuristic realm. Either way that we look at it, this particular full moon event is going to illuminate for us a higher level of communication, first within ourselves, with our higher self, with our higher intuition, with our higher realms of intelligence. And with the Gemini energy, communication between our heart and our head within ourselves, and communication within ourselves and other people, bouncing those ideas off, expressing ourselves fully. We've been bottling up a lot of emotions. We've had a lot of craziness. We've had a lot of chaos. We have to understand that Mercury, who is still in its post-shadow period that rules over Gemini season, it just moved back into its place of power in Gemini just yesterday. Check out that astro tarot or that astro forecast if you haven't already. This is also highlighting our attitude. First of all, our attitude for gratitude. Are we able to be grateful and have joy and really sit in happiness, even in the uncomfortable circumstances that rule over our here and now? Are we able to align with the attitude of gratitude, knowing and trusting in our higher selves, in the universe, that there is a new adventure awaiting for us? This is about our belief system, what we believe is actually possible, what we actually believe within ourselves, what it is that we now believe due to the changing circumstances, and opening up our mind space and our heart space to take on a brand new adventure. There's been a huge buildup of energy, a huge buildup of change. And the fear that we have, the uncertainty that we have, we're going to be releasing that. That's pretty much the only release, the only purge that this full moon is actually going to activate for us, is getting rid of the jittery, fear-based narratives and energies that's holding us back, preventing us from dreaming a bigger dream, from believing that it's possible, from trusting ourselves, trusting the universe, trusting our intuition, that things are rapidly changing. We are going to feel this overwhelming burst of emotion. We are going to be illuminated to details that we might have missed. This is going to bring a huge aha moment, huge revelations that will kind of restore our faith within ourselves, within the universe, within the plan, pushing us out of the here and now circumstances and into what we actually deem as possible for our futuristic realities. We have a lot going on. What I would want to remind you of is to use your filter. Sag energy typically does not have a filter at all. Gemini energy tends to test the boundaries of one's filter off of other people to see how they respond in order to gauge whether or not they should push harder in a debate in order to play devil's advocate, or whether they should kind of step down and allow people to project themselves out into the world in order for us to gauge where the energy exchange needs to take place in those particular relationships, the conversation that needs to be had. Again, eclipse season really rocked relationships, and we haven't been able to articulate our thoughts and our feelings up until this point. It's still kind of shaky, still kind of vague, but this energy is bursting at the seams, and we just have to release the energy. Now, I would say physically speaking, we're going to feel nervousness and anticipation and jitteriness and restlessness and ants in our pants and intense passions and dreams and desires. We're going to want to just dance. We're going to want to let our hair down. We just want to have fun. But at the same time, we can't totally indulge in having fun because there's some serious decisions, choices, directions, paths that we have to decide upon in order to get this party started, which again, after this particular event, we are going to see an accelerated timeline shift. Now, there's a lot of positives and negative aspects taking place under this moon event. When we take a look at the elemental energy, again, if you haven't downloaded your moon guide, I'm going to ask that you do that. When we take a look at the elemental energy, again, we're leading in Earth. If we were to incorporate Chiron, the wounded healer, who is about to have a very important aspect with Mars this week, if we were to include Chiron in this elemental breakdown, we would have even earth and fire. And what happens with earth and fire is if there's too much earth, meaning if we're concentrated too much on our physical circumstances, our physical bodies, the information and details in our here and now, if there's too much of that, we're going to snuff out our spark, snuff out our passion, snuff out our desires, which is very much the fire energy. If there's too much fire, so too much action, too much initiation, too much dancing and being fancy free, too much passion and desire kind of being thrown into the mix where we just want to take action now and think about the consequences later, we will burn down the whole freaking forest. That's what happens when there's too much fire on top of that earth. What we want to do is balance it out. When we balance out earth and fire, what we find is that we're able to cultivate a stable fire that will keep us warm, that shines a bright light on our physical realms, on our physical circumstances, lets us get lost in that flame to gaze upon the vision and the dreams that we want so badly for ourselves. But that earth energy keeps us present around that campfire, because if we don't pay attention to that campfire, we will burn the whole freaking place down. Because Jupiter is the ruler of this particular full moon event, I will say that Jupiter, who is about growth and expansion, magnifying our thoughts, our ideas, who is in Aries energy, who just wants to take action, start something new, pop off a new opportunity, who wants to cut the cord with the past and just look forward, Jupiter is making only negative aspects underneath this full moon event. Uranus, Venus, and the true node are clumped together. They're making a couple of different aspects under the full moon. The moon guide will be very, very detailed and descriptive on what that means, the energy that brings, the opportunity for learning that also gives us. But the semi-square between Jupiter and Uranus, Venus, and true node all sitting very close together in this Taurus energy is a tension point, because Jupiter just wants us to take action. But Uranus, which is unexpected opportunities, an aha moment, revelation, Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure and money and joy, and the true node, which is our soul's destiny point, they're sitting so freaking close together that there is an opportunity for a huge dramatic shift in our relationships, in our money matters, in new opportunities to present themselves that Jupiter just wants to dive into and take advantage of. However, because of the earth energy that Uranus, Venus, and the true node are in Taurus energy, we have to think. We have to go low and slow. We have to understand that the foundations, the routines, the opportunities that we are currently building in the here and now have to be strong enough to house the kind of dreams and visions that we're working very hard to actually manifest. So this is why we have a little bit of tension, because Jupiter just wants to show us where it is that we want to grow, where it is we want to improve, what it is we want more of. Let's act now, deal with the consequences later. This Taurus energy is like, pump the brakes, okay? Get your foot off the gas. We got to go low and slow here, or else we're going to get ourselves in a car crash. Jupiter is also semi-squaring Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in Aquarian energy. Jupiter likes to expand. Saturn likes to constrict. Jupiter wants to free us. Saturn wants to hold us back. Not in a negative way, but we need to think carefully. We need to be mature enough to think of the steps, the process, the strategy that we need to move in so that we don't ruin the new opportunities coming at us. So this semi-square is a little bit of tension because Jupiter, again, wants us to grow, wants us to improve. Saturn wants the same thing for us, but Saturn's retrograde saying, listen, you need to slow your roll, okay? You need to pump the brake. You need to take a good look at your past and all the times that you just acted without thinking carefully and thoroughly about your actions and how that ended in disaster. Saturn wants to put the squeeze on us, pump the brakes on us, so that we are gaining the wisdom and knowledge from previous experiences to root in the here and now so that we're not ruining the opportunities that are now being gifted to us. Pluto is also a major factor in this particular full moon energy. We have Pluto making an aspect with Neptune, which is very healing karmically, soul contracts, very much about dreams and creativity, where it is that we're transforming our vision and our dream for our future within ourselves, first and foremost. We have Pluto trining with Mercury, who is now in Gemini, again at a 0 degree. This is a fresh start, a fresh thought, a fresh narrative, a fresh perspective, a brand new idea. Pluto and Mercury have popped off 3 different times since April. We talked about this in our daily forecasts, I believe 2 days ago when they trined for the 3rd and final time, really revealing to us some insight, some aha moments, kind of cutting the cord with the obsession of figuring out the past so that we can be present in the here and now so we can focus on our future. Pluto in a retrograde is also going to be making an aspect with this Uranus, Venus, and true node configuration in Taurus. Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn. Uranus, Venus, and the true node are in Taurus. Taurus and Capricorn are both earth energies. This is going to have a major effect on seeing the step-by-step foundational build that we need to be focused on in the here and now to step into our power, step into our authority, to slow the roll of excitement, this itch that we have to start something new and do things properly. We are being presented with a huge shift in timelines and contracts and energy. And if we are not careful, if we do not apply the wisdom, if we do not pump the brakes and we just jump in willy-nilly, we will essentially ruin these beautiful opportunities that are being gifted to us. We have Saturn as a major player as well, making some positive aspects with both the sun and the moon. And of course, this is a sun and moon event. They're in opposition of one another, really illuminating for us what it is that we need to let go of in order to embody the new version of ourselves, of our path, of our mission, of our purpose, of our belief, of our faith. But we are going to be tested by the Lord of Karma, illuminating for us our inner discipline, our inner determination to do things right, to carry the roles and responsibilities that we've been blessed with on our shoulders with a lot of power and authority that we once did not have. We're opening our minds up. We are visualizing a futuristic vision and dream. We are bringing it back into the here and now to see what it is that we can do about it, how we're going to make sense of it, how we're going to bring it to life. And then Saturn reminds us of certain situations that have already taken place in our past that we can pluck the wisdom and knowledge out of, bring into the present moment to prevent ourselves from making those same mistakes in our futuristic opportunities. We also have Saturn making some not so nice aspects, mostly with Mercury, who is fresh in Gemini. This particular energy and the not so nice aspect that Saturn's making with, again, Uranus, Venus, and the true node clumped together in Taurus is again another aspect where we're going to feel the energy, the urge, the urgency, the desire to just bust out, to start something new, to move away and start a new life, to cut the cord with relationships, people, places, and things, and just start fresh. And Saturn's saying, nuh-uh, you didn't learn. You didn't learn from your tough love life lessons. You need to be bigger than that. You need to be more mature than that. You need to bring in the wisdom and the knowledge from your past experiences in order to avoid acting on impulse, acting restlessly, acting with ants in your pants, acting without a focus, acting without a direction. We have to hone in, zone in on the vision and the dream that we actually desire for ourselves and take the time to slow the roll, to pump the brakes so we have the ultimate opportunity to make the best out of the new chapters that are currently being presented to us. Many of us are just so tired with the frustration, with the anger, with the destruction, with everything that has popped off. We're so over it. We're so just over being hurt and the pain and the suffering and the trauma that we are willing at this point to jump into anything new. But sometimes diving into a brand new lake will get your head cracked on a rock if you don't take the time to measure the depth of the water. We have to think very closely, very carefully on what it is that we're about to do. And although the energy is very intense for us to just want to jump into that new chapter, that could be trouble. This is an act of discipline. Saturn, discipline. We have to understand that karmically speaking, we've gone through the ringer in order to build us up, for us to stand in our power, absorb the wisdom and knowledge, pluck out the silver linings from our past situations of pain and trauma, root it in, integrate it in the here and now so that we don't repeat past patterns and behaviors. It's time to grow up. It's time to get real. It's time to be mature. It's time to think long term about the kind of life that we're visualizing, that we're inspired to pursue, that we want to build, starting with the elements that we have control of in the here and now. So the full moon is going to paint a pretty big, beautiful picture on where it is that we're moving to from here. Now, does that mean that it's going to feel beautiful? Maybe not. Maybe the big picture, the beautiful big picture that you're getting is all the things that you're moving away from, all the things that have really run its course, all the things that are holding you back, keeping you in a state of paralysis, keeping you in a fear-based energy where you are stuck in the circumstances, believing that this is as good as it's going to get in the here and now. Or maybe the full moon is going to illuminate for you the direction, the beautiful dream that now you are building because of the realization of the things that you no longer want, need, or desire. And this is renewing your spirit, renewing your faith, renewing your 100% alignment with your mission, with your purpose that your higher self knows to be true. Again, the energy is very potent. It is 100% up to us how we let it manifest in our physical bodies. We do have to remind ourselves that filters do not come easily to us at this particular time, that we have a lot to say, that we have a lot of emotion and thoughts and ideas to express, that they may not come out the way that we had hoped to, that they may not be received the way that we wish that they would. We have to remember to get the energy out. We also have to remember to make sure that it's coming out in a manner that isn't creating more damage, destruction, and chaos that we will have to clean up before we can get the party started towards the end of the week, when this full moon energy gives us the opportunity, the green light go, to start rearranging, reorganizing, realigning, recalibrating, refocusing on what it is that we're moving towards, because we know what it is that we're moving away from.